Somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs begin to take hold.
You're either in or you're out. Right now.
I want to gamble.
I never want to hear those words out of your mouth again.
Gambling is not your problem.
Has anybody ever told you before of your bad luck?
Most gamblers, when they go to gamble, they go to win.
Those were my mother's dying words.
When we go to gamble, we go to lose. Show me the money.
Let's get out of here, man.
Show you the money.
Honestly, let's just go. Let's go to Vegas.
Look at you back in that, Jerry. I want you to say what you would mean it from my board. Show me the money!
It's the Sports Memory Vegas pregame show.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All eyes are on the NFL divisional weekend, but Newman and I see everything, and there is no sports we don't want to talk about. So before we talk about the divisional matchup, which Newman, Marcus, and I will talk at a few hours later from now, Newman and I want to make sure you guys are all caught up on everything else. And it is a pretty good college basketball slate today. Heavy Big 12, heavy SEC. I woke up thinking this might be a college football weekend, but it isn't. Newman, how are you thinking about today's college basketball slate?
I mean, this is tourney time, right? Like, we're getting close to February. We've got, big upsets happening left and right. Obviously, your boys pulled off one earlier this week with the upset over Purdue. So, I mean, it's just one of those where it's crunch time for a lot of these teams. You got to, if you're going to push in, if you're a bubble team, you got to push in, win some games down the stretch here, look strong in February and the end of January here, so that you can make it to the tournament. So it's time.
It's a few years into this, and I don't want to go on nerd analytics, but it's no more just resume with the way the NCAA committee works. It's all this new net system, which is all about quad wins. A quad win in November is the same as a quad win in January, which is the same as a quad win in February. They eliminate the last 10. Everything now is so important throughout the season. So you're spot on. We were texting earlier this week, and it's resume building time, right? Like, this is where you go to get your tournament selection. You are spot freaking on. And there are teams making that move. Florida State needed a win. IU needed a win. Both those teams got it huge in the past week. And I think there's definitely some teams that could do it today. You ready to jump into it?
Let's go.
Cool. All right. We talked about Press Virginia last week. They let us down a little bit. They did not cover.
They did. They got hammered.
Yeah. Now they're on the road to Texas Tech. They are a 7.5 point underdog. And you know what? Fool me once, West Virginia, and you're not going to fool me again. Texas Tech are awesome at home. They're 11-0 at home. They're 11-7 against the spread. Huggins has lost 2 in a row, and honestly, Williams for Texas Tech is a stud. I like Sherman and McNeil in the West Virginia backcourt, but man, I didn't think Texas Tech would be this good this quickly. But Newman, they're impressive.
I mean, we've talked about Texas Tech before. This is a team that over the last 5 or 6 years has consistently made the NCAA tournament and consistently made deep runs, including Final Four and Elite Eight appearances, etc. Sweet 16s like every year. They're one of the teams that have been the most consistent in terms of that out of anyone in the country.
Yep.
So they're, obviously you lose the coach, Chris Beard, to Texas, but that doesn't mean that all the players are going to change. So they're looking good. They're playing well. And West Virginia has a long way to go to get to Lubbock, Texas, here for this game, which is tough on travel.
Which is a noon tip, too. Not easy.
These are college kids. So, that travel can cause inconsistencies in their play. West Virginia has not been playing great basketball of late. We thought they'd give Kansas at least be able to keep it within 11 points, and they did not. So I find it tough to believe that they're going to be able to go into Texas Tech and give this one a game.
Yep. I agree with you. We're both on Texas Tech covering 7.5. Here's an impressive thing with Texas Tech. They are holding the Big 12, which is a scoring conference. Doesn't matter if it's football or basketball, to 59 points a game. That's super impressive. But the thing that I like, and it's going to be a theme throughout this show and a theme throughout these Saturdays, I love guard play. They are averaging one of the nation's best at 14 assists per game. That's very easy offense. And when you can have easy offense, you're going to win a lot of games. Let's move to the game of the day. Number 12, Kentucky, who has won 5 in a row. They look really good. Going into one of the nation's best, Auburn, number 2. Auburn is a 4-point favorite. Auburn's 9-0 at home, and they're 14-4 against the spread. Auburn's won me a lot of money this year, but I mean, Newman, Kentucky's got guys, like NBA guys.
So we had Kentucky on the slate last week. Tennessee, they were playing against Tennessee. You thought that Tennessee was going to be able to keep it somewhat close.
Yep.
But then when it came down to picks, he still took Kentucky, which was a smart decision because Kentucky absolutely pounded Tennessee. And Tennessee's a team that has some pretty good players too. Now Auburn is playing excellent basketball. Obviously Bruce Pearl's down there. But Auburn hasn't really been here before, right? This is the highest ranking we've seen Auburn have in basketball, I think, ever. Kentucky is hitting their stride. I'm going to take Kentucky if I'm getting 4 points. I'm sorry.
You kind of have to, but I'm not. I said this is going to be a guard-oriented show for me. I love Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith is going to be a lottery pick. He is an absolute stud. He is the best guard that will be on the court today. Kentucky may have better big men. They may have better wings. I'm taking the best guard because that's what I think wins games. But regardless, both these teams average 80 points. This one is going to be fireworks today.
Yeah. So Kentucky can really shoot. And then the other thing that Kentucky has that kind of gets underrated is they're deep. They're always pretty deep, right? So last year they may have had a little bit of struggles with that. But this year, obviously not. And when you're that deep, you can throw numbers at, a couple good guards like Auburn has, and that can cause them really big fits, especially when you're as big as Kentucky is. So,
yep. Yeah, no, that's you're spot on there. This is going to be an amazing game. So you're taking Kentucky, I'm taking Auburn.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, awesome. That's awesome. Let's go back to the Big 12 with a 2:00 tip. In Austin, Texas. You mentioned Chris Beard. We've talked about Texas last week. Oklahoma State already beat Texas. Texas has lost 3 out of 4. You say this is the time Chris Beard wins. What's up with Marcus Carr and Tim Allen? A little bit of a struggle town a little bit here down in Austin.
Yeah, obviously not his guys. He didn't recruit most of these players here in Texas. That was Shaka Smart's doing. So, it may take a little time in order to get him situated and get him going in the right direction. They are still ranked. They're a quality team, but I kind of like Oklahoma State getting the points here. I don't know if they win, but I'll take the points because that's a lot. And Texas has not been playing good enough basketball where I think they're going to blow them out more than by 8.5.
8.5 is a ton in college basketball. I mean, that's damn near 3 possessions. I'm gonna take a 3-possession ball game in conference against a team that's already beat them by double digits. Oklahoma beat them by 11, or Oklahoma State beat them by 11. So I think it's not my lock of the day, but I like Oklahoma State. Let's move to my crush, even though they let me see, what is their record in the past 5? They did drop to Oklahoma State earlier this week. Baylor going on the road to Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a home dog. Are you digging the home dog today?
No. At the end of the day, I'm still gonna take the team that's better.
Same here.
Baylor, it's only 3.5 points, so I think that's manageable to cover. At some point, they got to get this back going in the right direction, and after losing a couple in a row like that, this is when you get back to basics and really kind of focus in on what you need to accomplish here. So I think that's mostly just a blip on the radar because Baylor has been really excellent most of the season. So I expect them to get back to their winning ways here against Oklahoma.
Baylor beat them at 10 at home. And honestly, Oklahoma doesn't have the guards. They have pretty good big men. They have pretty good wings. But Baylor, as you know, for those that only watch in March Madness, Baylor will run you up and down the court. You need to have guard play to be able to keep up with these guys, or they'll run you out of the gym. And I think Baylor absolutely runs OU out of the gym today. Let's go to, I really wanted this to be my upset pick today. Number 7 Kansas going on the road to Manhattan to Kansas State. Love me some Saturday rivalry game. Kansas State getting 6.5. Am I crazy to think Kansas State covers in this rivalry game, Newman?
Yes, you are. Kansas is playing really good basketball right now. I mean, they've had a couple of really close ones in conference here in the last couple of weeks and stuff, but like this is a rivalry game. They load up on these kinds of situations. In terms of like the last couple games and stuff like that, they've had some close contested here, but I expect them to come out and be guns firing here for this one against Kansas State. I think the last time they played was Tuesday night. They did escape with a W, so they can come back here and play on Saturday just fine. Extra few days rest, not that far to go to Manhattan from Lawrence, so I like the Jayhawks here.
And this is by far the better team, but Kansas State just beat Texas. They just beat Texas Tech. And smack me if you've heard this before, I love their backcourt. They might have the best. No, Baylor has the best backcourt. They may have the second best backcourt in the entire Big 12. There's 2 guys you're going to want to know for March Madness. Kansas State's going to get in. They're probably going to get in as a 10, 11, or 12 seed. Remember the names Nigel Pack and Mark Smith. Nigel Pack is from Indianapolis. He was injured up until his senior year, and then he blew up. Purdue and Indiana offered super late. He decided to commit to Kansas State because Kansas State stayed on him throughout the injury. Nigel Pack is a stud. Mark Smith was a 5-star out of Chicago. He went to Illinois, but he was buried behind Frazier and Ayo, so he transferred. You have 2 really, really good guards in Nigel Pack and Mark Smith for Kansas State. I really want them to pick to win this. I don't think they do, but I think they cover. Mostly I want to talk about that because Kansas State is going to... Remember how Colorado was my darling last year, Newman, for the tournament? I think Kansas State is going to be one of my darlings because of the guard play going into March Madness. So keep your eyes on the Wildcats. Well, I do think Kansas wins, though, ultimately in this game. Let's go to the second best game of the day and my upset pick. Number 13, LSU going into Knoxville. Man, do I just have a man crush on Tennessee? What's going on here, Newman?
You tend to, yeah. Rick Barnes is not a very good coach. I personally think that Bruce Pearl's better. So, yeah.
So it's LSU is really explosive, but they're also really streaky. They're one of these teams that they need turnovers and they need 3-point shooting. I don't know if either one of those travel very well. They're extremely good at home. They've been extremely good on against the spread. They're 14-4, but they already beat Tennessee by 12. But I don't care.
And they're getting 5 points.
That's what I was double checking. They're getting 5 points. So yes, you're taking LSU, the higher ranked team, getting 5 points.
Yeah.
I like home court here. I like Vescovi. He's one of these like 5th, 6th year senior guys that have been at Tennessee. He was at Tennessee when they were, a top 5 ranked team. Chandler's a little bit younger. I like him as a guard. Give me Tennessee. Even though it isn't an upset versus spread, I'm calling it upset because I can do what I want.
What do you like to say about LSU's coach?
Will Wade is the biggest cheater in all of collegiate sports. Like I don't care.
Why do you say that?
Because he was literally caught on tape like 10 times. Like, it wasn't just what Sean Miller did at Arizona, which was one big case, right? DeAndre Ayton dropped the bag, Sean Miller caught. Will Wade has done that so many times. I don't know how this guy is still employed. That means there's just some big money in LSU.
So that means he's getting a bunch of really good players, right?
They have like 3 5-stars on their roster right now. LSU is stacked. LSU is absolutely stacked.
Yeah, give me the better team getting 5 points.
I just freaking hate Will Wade so much. Like, I hate him more than Calipari, and you know how much I hate Calipari.
Yeah.
Will Wade is a grade A scumbag.
You let your biases take it to play here, but too much. give me the Tigers.
All right, let's jump over to the Pac-12, kind of the only Pac-12 game that makes that's any good today. It's a late night tip, as Pac-12 normally is. Number 9 UCLA going to the Buffs. Buffs were my team last year. Not so much this year. I like UCLA. It's my lock of the day. I can't believe they're only giving 3.5 points. Tiger Camber and Josie Juzang are just, I mean, they're both NBA players. They're going to be too much for the Buffs to handle. Both teams are really bad against the spread, but that's kind of Pac-12. Pac-12 is all over the place. But UCLA kind of been back and forth. I think they add a nice quad 1 win here on the road today.
Yeah, I'm on UCLA here too. I think they have a better team. There's a reason that they're ranked way higher than Colorado here, and 3.5 points is not enough to deter that for me.
Yep. Yeah, kind of a layup quad 1 win. But again, they all count. Wanted to jump into the ACC. Not really many top 25 matchups, but certainly kind of we talked about at the onset of the show. So a lot of these teams need these wins. They need something to put on their tournament resume. So I got 3 games here that I'm going to let you kind of take the charge on. And let's start here with your Noles going to Miami, getting the Noles are getting 2.5. McGusty's really good for Miami. Is he going to be too much for the Noles?
So the problem with Miami is that they're not deep. And this happens every year when they play Florida State. Florida State is always deep, and they run, 10, 11 guys at them. And Miami winds up, keeping the game close for the first half, and then Florida State pulls away at the end. And I don't see any reason why that wouldn't happen here.
Gotcha. So you like the upset here. Is this your upset pick of the day, the Noles?
I mean, sure, I'll take my boys.
Let's see.
Here's the other thing. I think Miami's lost 7 or 8 in a row to Florida State. Yeah. The game was close in Tallahassee, but Florida State didn't play particularly great, and Miami does have some good guard play. So
McGusty's really good,
but Florida State didn't really play well in that game, and they still came out and won. So
plus 120. That's Newman's plus money of the day, baby. Florida State.
The depth of Florida State is too much for Miami to handle, and yeah.
All right, let's jump to 2 teams awkwardly hanging around the top of the Big Ten. Notre Dame going into Louisville. Notre Dame can really score. Louisville's pretty athletic. Who do you see coming out here?
I like Notre Dame better. I think they've been kind of playing some better basketball lately. And I think that they're a better shooting team than Louisville is.
I don't know if anyone on Notre... Actually, I know this. I've seen Notre Dame play a few times this year. They have no one that can stop Malik Williams of Louisville. Malik Williams is really, really good. If Louisville is going to go on a run, it's going to be because of Malik Williams. I think Notre Dame needs to spread them out, and that's exactly what they do. Notre Dame plays that 4-5-out offense, which I think is really going to help neutralize Malik Williams of Louisville.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Chris Mack's not that great a coach, just to be honest.
No. Rumor is he is done. Rumor is he is gone after this year.
So, yeah, I'm on the Irish.
What do you think? Oh, another mid-major coach that doesn't make it. IU knows that all too well. Yeah, I agree. Chris Mack is trash. UNC to Wake Forest. Wake Forest probably the surprise of the ACC this year. Not just in football, they're doing it in basketball as well. What do you see here with a struggling North Carolina team? Wake Forest is favored over UNC. That's wild, Newman.
Yeah, Wake Forest is actually pretty good. They absolutely hammered Florida State when they're at home. It gets kind of wild down there. at Wake, and I mean, only a 1.5 point game, so Vegas sees this as pretty neutral. It's not a very far travel, obviously, for North Carolina, but something about Wake to me just seems like a better play here. Plus, you got the home crowd, so I'm on Wake here.
Yeah, so again, Alondas Williams is the best guy in college basketball you don't know about. He is scoring 20 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, and 5 assists a game. He is so good. And then there's 2 white guys that I like a lot. And one of them is Jake LaRovia. He is a grad transfer from Indiana State. He dominated Indiana high school basketball, dominated at Indiana State. It was a huge pickup for Wake Forest. Jake LaRavia is a guy who's going to make plays for you. And then there's a guy that my wife absolutely hates, but he reminds me of the way I play. His name is Carter Witt for Wake Forest. He's just an absolute pest.
Does your wife hate him because he reminds you of you?
100%. If you watch Carter Witt, that's exactly how I play basketball. I don't look anything like him because he has this weird long hair fro thing. But Carter Witt is a guy who's going to see. He's going to be one of those ACC guards that's around forever, and he just is constantly annoying. I like this Wake Forest team. I think they cover pretty comfortably against a struggling UNC team that really doesn't know who they are. Like, they got Baycott, they got RJ Davis, but like they kind of have no identity, Newman. Don't do anything well.
Yeah, I mean, that's North Carolina's still in a transition here. It's been a bit of a struggle, and I don't really see that not being the case. Like I said, I'm on Wake at home.
Yep. All right, let's round this out because, again, like I said, all focus is on the NFL, but we do have 2 NHL plays here today. I'm going to toss the first or 2 non-college basketball plays, 1 NHL, 1 NBA. I'm going to toss it over to Newman to cover the Bolts, who got their butts whooped last night.
Yeah, I'm actually on the Sharks here, just because. So Vasilevsky played last night. Normally they don't run him out back to back. I don't expect them to do that here. Their backup goalie is not nearly as good as he is, and this is a team that's tired. They've played a lot of games in the last few days. Their game earlier this week, I think, whatever night that was. Thursday or something, I believe. They only played with like 16 guys, so they've had a bunch of guys in and out with injuries and COVID and all that kind of stuff. So this is just a team that's got to be exhausted at this point, and for that reason, I'm going to take the Sharks here.
West Coast trips are always really hard. Good thing the Bolts have built up such a solid season so far. They're at no threat of falling into that 3rd position. They're going to be number 1 or number 2 in the Atlantic all year. Though the Panthers look good, man. Panthers look really, really good.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll see.
It is just January. We both know.
Even if Tampa Bay does not win the division, they didn't win the division last year. They were 3rd in their division last year, and they're just. When they get everyone back healthy, they're way better than everyone else. Plus, they have the best goal contender on the planet in goal most of the time, although he won't be there tonight, which is why I'm okay with picking against them.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard you pick against the Bolts. That's the first.
Sometimes you gotta be a realist.
I only have 1 play in the NBA today. There's only 3 games. The Thunder go to Cleveland, and it's mostly because I want to talk about Cleveland. They're currently 5th in the East, but I really like their young nucleus. They got Darius Garland from Vanderbilt. He's a really, really good guard. They have Allen, who was just a presence in the middle. He was a stud at Texas. And then they have their lottery pick, Mobley, who is way better than I thought. I thought he would need a little bit of a transition to the NBA. They've built a really solid nucleus of young guys. It was a bummer they lost Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton from Alabama. I loved watching him. I think he had almost a quadruple double when he was at Alabama. Colin Sexton is awesome. But if you haven't had a chance to watch the Cleveland Cavaliers, watch them. They're a super fun team to watch. They play the horrible Thunder tonight. Thunder team that is fully wanting to tank. I think the Cavs cover, but I'm not going to bet on the NBA. Not in January. Mostly tune into this game if the football game's a blowout tonight.
Yeah, so probably not watching this one. But
Probably not.
I mean, the thing about Sexton is he's actually he's not a great fit for what they're trying to do there.
He would have probably got traded, honestly, if he would have stayed healthy.
Yeah, I mean, he can score, but other than that, he doesn't really fit with the equation that they have there. You obviously do need some guys that can score, but realistically in the NBA, there's a lot of guys that can score. They just need the time. So his loss is not actually that big of an issue for them. But you're right. Mobley's been awesome. Garland's really good. So I do think that the Cavs are going to win this game, even though you got the 12.5, because as you mentioned, the Thunder are bad. And yeah.
All righty. Well, that's all we have, guys. Like I said, keeping this slate and show a little bit short because Newman and I will be right back here in about 4 hours to talk everything divisional weekend. It'll be Newman. It'll be Marcus. It'll be me. We'll be giving our game picks. We'll be giving some props. We'll be giving some parlays. Everything you want to know about the games coming up in a few hours. Till then, Newman, keep it real.
Go Knowles.
See ya.